The seas are great, the scenery is beautiful, the ship is amazing. Today, we're going on a cruise. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We've realized life is a dance. The ups and downs can spin you out of your mind, but it's time to take back control. It's time to become a lifer. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We are a new breed of overachievers. Emotional mastery is our journey, and unlocking our full potential is the key. Welcome to the journey. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast. I'm so glad you joined me today. And today I was just reminiscing about a cruise I went on a number of years ago. It's been a long time, but I wanted to chat with you a little bit about that cruise and about something that just occurred to me today. And, I remember one thing specific. We had a lot of ports, and we had a lot of places to visit as the ship stopped along the way, and we were headed to a specific end point, and we were going to turn around and come back to where we started. And one thing really stood out to me. I remember one night we had finished eating, and we were walking around the ship, and we went up to the top level. And as we walked around the ship on that top level, looking out into the seas, and as we looked out, I looked up and saw a ton of stars. There was just a ton of stars. It was totally dark, and the only thing really lit was the ship, and it was dimly lit, probably just for that reason, so we could look up and see the stars. And as I looked up and around, I couldn't see the moon. And it stood out to me massively. I kept thinking, gosh, where could the moon possibly be? Well, I'm not an astronomer by any means, and I'm sure some of you might have an explanation out there as to why I couldn't see the moon. But we literally walked around the entire ship looking in every direction in the sky and could not see the moon. It wasn't because there was clouds. It was a beautiful, perfect night. But we could see the stars. And so it was very strange. It was very interesting because, you usually think, hey, I can see the moon no matter what. But in this particular instance, there was no moon. Well, that stood out to me massively. Over the course of the days, there were some rough waters. At times, they told us to stay indoors. At other times, the seas were completely calm, and you could barely tell we were on a boat. But in any case, we were headed to a destination, and each stop we had along the way allowed us to go and see and visit different things and experience different food and experience different people and how they lived. And yet each day we'd get back on the boat and we'd have this stable place to be. We didn't have to take our clothes somewhere else. We didn't have to keep packing up. And everything was taken care of. What a life, right? All the food was taken care of. It was all you could eat, which was probably not so bad at the time when my metabolism was through the roof. But everything was taken care of, so we didn't have to worry about anything. The entertainment was great. There were tons of things to do on the ship. You could literally walk into a room, get some ice cream and cookies anytime you wanted. There were always fresh baked cookies. Literally everything was at your fingertips. If you needed anything, you could ask your room attendant, you could ask the concierge, you could ask any number of the employees, and it was their job, and it seemed like their pleasure to get you or do anything that they could to make sure your experience was great while on the ship. Now, each step of the way, we knew where we were going. We knew what our final port was, and at a certain point along the stops, I remember thinking to myself, holy cow, what is this stop going to be? It's going to be great. We're going to do this, and we're going to have this excursion, and we're going to go do that thing, and it's going to be really great. And then I remember getting to the next one. Oh, we're going to do this here. We're going to do, this new thing. And then we get to the next stop. We had a number of stops along the way. But then I started thinking, wait a second. Well, we're going to do something at that last port. We're going to turn around and come back. But why is the last port anything different than any of these ports along the way? You see, the people on the cruise had figured something out. The experience that we are having on the cruise was massively important. These little excursions, these little stops at all these different ports of call were just moments in time that we could go and remember. But if we weren't having an amazing time on the ship, if our day-to-day life wasn't amazing, didn't matter really what was at the ports of call. And the destination was going to be no more wonderful than any of the ports along the way. It was going to be great, no doubt about it. But each of the stops were essentially like hitting the end stop. We could have turned around and gone back. So what's this all about? Well, it's great to have a lighthouse. And sometimes, if you've listened, you've heard me talk about a lighthouse. It's amazing to have one. It's amazing to have a place to shoot for and a destination to go to. But just like on the cruise, it was sure great to have all of the things that we needed taken care of because it allowed us to relax. It allowed us to be in our natural state. Now, the problem really is that while we were on the cruise, some people's natural state was angry all the time. Didn't matter what was going on. Some people were caregivers. They were always trying to take care of everybody else. Some people were hard workers. Didn't matter what was going on. They had to get some work done. And as I tell many of my students and people that I coach, no matter where you go, you're still there. Things that you are, the way you've become, the progression you've made in your life, the problems and challenges that you have, you can take yourself out of the situation, but everywhere you go, you're still there. You are still in the situation. And so as I watched people interact and engage these workers who were trying to make an experience for them that would be amazing, so many of the people were still who they were in that situation. The complainers were still complaining. And you've been someplace like that. You're in this fun place, maybe Disneyland, supposed to be the happiest place on earth, and you've still got people complaining. And these people at Disneyland are doing everything they can to make your experience great. And yet, for some people, no matter what happens, it was going to be an awful experience because that's just kind of how they've decided they're going to live their life. When you're on the boat, all your food, all your needs are taken care of. If you look at the old Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got air, food, water, shelter. Those are the first things. And they take care of those things massively. Then they start taking care of all your other needs, entertainment, things and activities for you to do. They take care of it all. And yet some people were still capable of having a horrible time. And in most instances, those people were looking ahead and going, well, I just can't wait till we get to the last port. And I was thinking, well, gosh, what about this port? Well, what about the next one? It was always about somewhere they were going. They had set that lighthouse ahead, just like the captain of the ship, just like the workers on the ship. But instead of it being the end, it was just a stop along the way. And for those people that were having a marvelous time, enjoying things like the moon and the stars, the journey was incredible. There were rough patches along the way, as I said earlier, and sometimes you felt really nauseous. But I found out they keep you fed because when you're fed, you get less nauseous. Well, at least for some people. So what's that about? Well, we've got to take the advice of the captain. Set a lighthouse Make sure you know the destinations. Each step along the way, you want to set some nice ports of call to make sure that you are indeed on the right path and heading towards the final destination. But along the way, you've got to live. You've got to take part in that all-you-can-eat kitchen, the wonderful buffet, the free dessert whenever you want it, getting a drink anytime you need, having fun and going to the gym, playing on the flow rider on the ship. How about a little golf, hitting some golf balls out into the ocean? Whatever it was that we were doing, we were busy every day living life, experiencing the journey. And as these people on the cruise ship take care of every detail, their whole goal is the experience, to help you live in the moment. And yet it's such a great metaphor for life. Set your lighthouses. Make sure you have some ports of call along the way. And every minute, live the journey. Every minute. We'll see you on the next podcast. Want more magic for life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.